investments include a part interest in an all-night truck stop at the Alamo. It won't include it next year, I'll tell you. Jack is part owner of a cattle ranch outside Newark, New Jersey. 99 bulls and 1 cow. I want to sell the cow, but the bulls won't let him. Jack is part owner of a tourist business in Cleveland. And Willard is also the same agent, or was the same agent, for Bob Uecker and Joe Garagiola while they were playing. But Jack comes from a long line. This guy, now, he sits up here, he's all somber and everything. He's got this nice clean-cut, short hair attitude and all that. But he comes from a long line of drinkers, heavy drinkers. As a matter of fact, his great-grandfather was a good friend of Benjamin Franklin's. Nobody knows this. Nobody knows any of this stuff. And they'll forget it right shortly. Shortly. As I said, his great-grandfather was a good friend of Benjamin Franklin's. As a matter of fact, he would have invented electricity, but he was too poor to buy a kite. He had to, I don't know. He had to go out and hire one. And Jack's got a picture of him on the mantelpiece at home, hiring a kite. Jack's great uncle along those drinking lines was a town drunk, lived in New York. Just died recently. They cremated him and he burned for 10 days. He is from a long line of geriatrics. Is that the word? A long line of long livers. No pun intended. His great aunt just died, 104 years old, but they saved the baby. Why are we honoring Jack Eaton here tonight? Nobody knows. I don't know what I'm doing here. You know, as I say, why are we honoring Jack Eaton here tonight when some of the biggest people in the history of the world were never honored? Ponce de Leon, for instance, first guy to go to Florida without his wife. He was never honored. Nero's wife, Shirley, said, "Idiot, fiddle on the roof. You'll make a fortune." He was never honored. Eve, who said to Adam, "What do you mean the children don't look like you?" He was never honored. Noah's wife spent 40 days and 40 nights with him on that boat. Said, "Noah," I forgot her name, Julia, I think. Said, "All right, Noah, it's your turn to spread the papers today." Attila the Hun, who said, "Sure, I pillage, it's a living," was never honored. And George Washington, who famous words said, "If I didn't tell a lie, how would I get to be president?" He was never honored. But I would like to say that, Jack, leave you with this thought. We love you. We think a lot of you. I think to be ripped judiciously and rightly so, as everybody's done tonight, you got to realize that the thought that I want to leave you with is that regardless, you could reach the acclaims of a Jack Eaton, and regardless, I'm trying to get this out now. Let me. Everything went so well up to the... Regardless of what happens, that the only thing that's going to... that your funeral... I'll tell you, see you.
I say, that's a shame you were going so good, too. You got...
Hey, let's have one for McCarver next year. Maybe you'll remember the damn thing.
He says he's got it. You want to hear the finish?
Yeah!
But Memphis wrestling knows no man, I guess, better than Jerry Lawler. Truly the king of wrestling. Because, Jerry, you don't have to worry about Jack just because he's bigger than you are, because he also runs real fast the other way, so you won't have to worry. Jerry Lawler.
What is it, Jack?
Okay, no, go ahead, King.
Dick, you've done a fine job tonight. It's the first time. I didn't realize that MC stood for mental case all these years, but you proved it tonight. It's really nice being here with all these fine people and all these very important people up here on the dais with me, especially the mayor. Jack, I don't know if you realize this or not, but he wouldn't have been here tonight. But they told him that the liquor that they're serving is 20 years old, and he said, I won't let it live another minute. My friend Nancy Hart down there, I wasn't going to say anything about you, Nancy, but since you included me in your little speech there, I thought I would tell the people a little-known fact about Nancy. Before she got into broadcasting, and I don't know if I should tell this or not, but really, Nancy was a lady of the evening. But she was so dumb, she wound up working in a warehouse. Slow there, Dick. What is it, Jack? Was the meal nice? Did you like the meal tonight? It was great, you know. Up until tonight, Jack's idea of a 7-course dinner was a Polish sausage and a 6-pack. This was nice. You know, everybody's been, they say a few things about Jack, but then they throw in something nice at the end, you know, like what a really nice guy underneath all of this. He is really, I want to tell you, he's really not that nice. I was at Jack's house last night for the first time, and I went in, and his wife, Irma, answered the door. That was the first time we'd ever met. I asked Jack, I said, is that your wife? He said, do you think I'd hire a maid that ugly? See, he's not a nice man. He said that, not me. Yes, I'm in trouble. I stay in trouble. I don't care. But here's Jack. All dressed up and no face to go. He's got, the reason they hired him at Channel 5, he's got the perfect face for television. It's already blurred. I thought everybody was going to be up here talking about your big ears.
I did too.
There's not been one thing said about your ears.
Go ahead and say something.
No, they're not that bad. Okay. Just because you look like a taxi cab with both doors open, it's really not. They're not that big, Jack. You know, most of the people realize that Jack, by now, Jack is a frustrated athlete. I mean, that's been his dream all his life. He wanted to play some sort of sport, any sport. Jack just wanted to be an athlete. But the fact of the matter was, he was just too dumb. I mean, he's stupid, you know. In grade school, he had to have a tutor to pass recess. He tried out for the baseball team. The coach said, what's your best playing position? Jack said, sort of stooped over like this. You know. I've spared no expense tonight. I've brought something from Jack's past. I think it's on here. Spared no expense. This is the, if I can get this out of here, the first football that Jack ever saw. He tried out for the high school football team. The coach said, well, the coach handed this to Jack, and he said, you think you can pass this? Jack said, if I can swallow it, I can pass it. He did. No. Oh, but he made the team, and he was a quarterback. They were playing the worst. They were playing the worst team in the city, and they played for 2 quarters, and neither team had scored. And finally, the whistle blew, and it was halftime. The other team walked off the field, and 3 plays later, Jack scored a touchdown.
I remember the game.
I remember the game. Yes, I do. Well, you know, like I said, he was the quarterback. He was so stupid, though, that when he finally won his letter, he asked the coach to read it to him. Come closer to the mic up here. No, he got out of high school. He made quite a name for himself in college sports. You've heard of the Rambling Rex from Georgia Tech. Jack was known as the Total Loss from Holy Cross. He wanted to be he wanted to be in any sport. He tried them all. He tried, you know, he couldn't make it in baseball or football, so he even tried auto racing. He was in, a lot of people don't realize this, he was in the Indianapolis 500 one year. He didn't win, but he did set a record for the number of pit stops. He made 75 pit stops. Made 3 for gas, 4 to change the tires, and 68 to ask directions. He tried boxing after that. He made a lot of money as a prize fighter. I was surprised you didn't stay in it. He was knocked down so often he sold advertising space on the soles of his shoes. Jack was a pioneer in Memphis television. He was the first man to ever be turned off here in the city of Memphis. I want you to realize it. But Jack, I've said all these things, and I want to say this. I know that, you know, it's your lifelong ambition to be a success. But I'm sorry, your only hope for success in television is for one of your relatives to die and leave you some talent. Jack, it's been nice. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, King. Jerry Lawler. What else is there to say about Jack that we haven't said that won't land us in jail? Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the Arthritis Foundation's Turkey of the Year, Big Jack Eaton.
Dick Hawley was at WMC when I got there, and he took me under his wing and taught me the ropes. He showed me how to come in late and leave early and turn in overtime for it. Now to the mayor. I love the mayor, I really do. He's been elected 3 times. And one time, I don't suppose you remember this, Mr. Mayor, but I promised you my vote in perpetuity. And he said, "What's perpetuity?" And I said, Mr. Mayor, that means that forever you can count on my vote. And I have stuck by that. I also promised that to Richard Nixon, by the way. And I got to thinking, great Scott, this includes the hereafter. But then it dawned on me, too, that should Mr. Mayor run for something in the hereafter, that I would probably have to vote by absentee ballot because I expect to be in a more desirable neighborhood. Jerry Lawler. Like Jerry Lawler, one of my favorite people. And in honor of Jerry Lawler, the King, I wrote you a poem, King, is what I did. It goes like this. When I hear Lawler the King, I am sometimes pained until I realize the title is self-proclaimed. He's not really tough. His matches are a gimme because he fights such stiffs as Handsome Jimmy. If he fought a real wrestler, I'd have to fear he'd have that crown stuck right in his ear. And when I turn on TV, I sometimes feel that what I'm watching is almost real. Wrestling is like golf, as far as I know. You grunt for money and you bleed for show. But when Lawler's about to wrestle, this much I beg, please, don't tell him to break a leg. And there sits our beautiful Nancy Hart. We've worked together for a long time, and I have genuine affection for Nancy. She doesn't know it from the way I treat her, but I really do. And for you, Nancy, because of my affection and respect, I have also composed a short poem. When Nancy comes on, I pray to the Lord that I look pleasantly surprised and not thoroughly bored. She covers opera, ballet, and the best affairs. It's exciting to many, but for me, who cares? Nancy, you're good, as solid as a rock. So wake me when you cover a Memphis State jock. Dana Kirk came out of the hills to cure the tigers of all their ills. He wasn't coy and he sure wasn't cute. He said, "Folks, I can coach and I can recruit." When he came to town, he heard the news there was a kid at Melrose that he could use. The coach said to Brooks, "Son, we'll have a ball," but he signed with DeVoe and is now a Vol. Then he went to Arkansas. He was rootin' and snorting, and he tried to sign one Ricky Norton. He said, "Kid, come with us and you'll be our main cog." But he signed with Sutton and is now a hog. Now, it's occurred to me, and I'm sure to you, great Scott, Coach, you're 0 for 2. So after thinking it over, I'd say we've been had. Because in looking back, Coach Yates wasn't all that bad. Donnie Kessinger, great Scott, legend in Arkansas, went bad and signed with Ole Miss. People over there can, and we've heard how Donnie Kessinger played all those years in the major leagues, but 11 of them don't count because they were with the Cubs, and we all know the Cubs are not a major league team. And here sits Tim McCarver. The only thing Tim McCarver knows about good pitching is that it's tough to hit. Is that true, Tim? Tim played in 3 World Series, had a combined batting average of .310. He played in Memphis in 1960 when Russwood Park burned down. Tim was the only man on the Memphis Blues team that year that couldn't reach the right field screen. Not a great power hitter, was 115 feet away. Ed McCauley is the kind of a guy who doesn't hold this over me. But I am in awe of this man because he gets a stained glass window in the Basketball Hall of Fame, and they buried my uniform at W&J. They thought it was bad luck.
Thank you, Jack. I'd like to call up to the podium right now the president of the West Tennessee Arthritis Foundation, Charlie Ashford.
Only man at the podium has to pull the microphone down. Jack, it takes great pleasure for me to present to you the first annual, the original Turkey of the Year Award, and our thanks to you from the Arthritis Foundation. The inscription would be put on later. We couldn't get all the words on there. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Charlie.
Jack Eaton. Let's have it for Jack.